doer.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the straight red car. Get off our lawn.
Go.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Hey, this is the first recorded show we've done in a while. But, yeah, the game just ended. And as you can tell, we're all fired up around here. Good game, you know. Final score was
7-1.
USA 6 and Grenada 9.
Oh.
So it was 6-9 score. No,
You had me there for a second.
7-1 it was.
I thought I fucked up there.
7-1 it was.
I'm going to try not to curse. I don't want to get dinged for our ad revenue.
Well, you really fucking worried about that?
I'm not marking this as we curse in this. Those are two dings. You know, we'll see what happens.
I did see the commercial that played during the game. You notice how these freaking pharmaceutical companies are coming up with the weirdest names for these drugs now? The one they were playing tonight was QUVIVIQ. QVIVIC was the name of the drug. I don't even know what it was for, but it's as bad as some of these car names they have out now, like the Aspire. Like, oh, you're the Aspire. It's aspiring to be a good car.
You're sitting in the car, you're like, this is going to be a good day. Yeah.
I'm aspiring. So is this car. So is this car. All right.
It's better than perspiring, I guess.
I guess so. Well, it depends on what's going on.
But, what if it was one of the cars that use hydrogen or whatever that basically, instead of exhaust coming out of CO2, it comes out as water and it just drips out the water. There you go. And that car actually would be perspiring.
Kind of like an old man without any bladder control.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just constant drip, 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 drip.
That's why they wear diapers. All right. That's not funny. My parents are old and they don't wear diapers. But I haven't really asked them about that issue. So I'm not going to either. So
how often do you pee your pants?
I don't get into them. I mean, listen, folks, it's really hard to get super excited about this game. You know, we started out in a flurry, and then as the game went on, we're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, and
can this please end?
Well, yeah, you're already doing the. Is this
over?
Is it over yet? Before the show even started.
Yeah.
No, but going into it, obviously you had a bunch of people who were coming out saying like, oh, you know, if the team does well against Grenada, then you're gonna have a bunch of people that are like, you know, pro Hudson, let's go Hudson, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, it's against Grenada.
No, but they're right. They're already Peckerwood's posting in there saying, I'm good with Hudson. Let's just go with Hudson.
It is a troll factory out there, basically, where people are like, he called in our best players. Guess I'm Team Hudson now. You know?
And that's fine. Be Team Hudson while he's there. I can't say I have anything to complain about with. Listen, and I do love the fact
Grenada. We can't judge anything.
No. I get all that, but you've got to take into account that while they are placating Berhalter verbally throughout this whole camp, in deeds, they're basically fucking Berhalter in the ass, which is what I love. They're basically saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna build on all the great things Berhalter did by playing a 4-2-3-1 and playing Gio Reyna as a CAM. Fuck you, Berhalter." And we're not going to play positional soccer at all. We're going to let them roam freely like you never let them do when you made them play like fucking robots, you prick. Now, they didn't say that out loud, but boy, indeed, that's what it looked like on field.
Yeah.
Did it not? Didn't that look like a giant middle finger to Greg Berhalter the whole game?
Well, 100%. I mean, at least the top four were so fluid that you had no idea where anybody was playing at any given moment. I mean, Pulisic was more or less out left. Aronson was invisible for like the first third of the match outright because we went up the left the entire match. But I mean, they're so fluid that it just at any given moment of the game, any player could have been anywhere.
It was so fluid. It was like a golden shower bukkake. That's what was fucking going on out there. People are just flip-flopping around. Streams were crossing. You know what I'm talking about? It was just great to watch.
Yeah. So, one of our listeners had mentioned on Twitter that basically saying it looked like a bunch of guys playing soccer out in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to cross streams and play like this when you're playing Grenada.
Well,
Grenada.
And my response was, well, those are lies, first off, because my backyard looks much more suitable for a match of soccer than this one did.
That's true. The field wasn't perfect. We already knew that going into it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, really, it's still Grenada. But keep in mind, we had never beat Grenada under Greg away, right? Did we ever play them even under Greg?
Away? No,
yeah.
Not that I know of.
We did play them.
There's Gold Cup, and then there's the home match, but
we played them at home, and it was tied 0-0 at halftime. That should give you some sort of warning of how we did. Now, we ended up winning, I think, 5-0.
Yeah.
But okay. That was under that super strict...
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ scored like 4 goals that game.
Yeah, Yeah, Jesus. I mean, listen, it's just a totally different game the way we played today. We played like big boys today. Like we were allowed to do things.
We're going to stress a number of times throughout this entire show that it's against Grenada. It's against Grenada. But we actually went on the road. We played very progressive, and we scored and won dramatically. We
look unbothered. I mean, okay, there was that period between minute 7 and minute 16
between our goal and their goal, basically.
when Reynolds fucked up, when was it McKenzie fucked up? There was some fuck ups.
Yeah, and in the goal,
yes,
Weston was sort of like drifting in space.
Mm-hmm.
And Aronson, who was our right mid, was actually covering in the center of our box, who I thought West probably should have been marking.
Right wing.
Yeah.
Actually.
And then it got played out to probably who Aronson probably should have been marking.
I don't know. Right wingers don't typically tuck in that tight.
True. Agree. But that's what happened.
So, yeah, it is what happened. And it was a little lazy, kind of like, oh, they're not going to score from this. Oh, yeah, they can. If you, totally go to sleep, which is what happened. And outside of that, they did hit the post. They could have had 2 goals, maybe 3. At best.
2. I would say 2. The save, Turner with the save, probably stopped their only other goal scoring opportunity.
I was a little surprised that he went with Trusty and McKenzie back there. That seems like, but I mean, if you're going to do it, I guess do it against Grenada. Makes sense. I guess
we couldn't have been any further away from our starting 11. We went with pretty much a B squad, but even that became wrong. So what it turned out to be was an A attack and a B defense.
Yeah, right.
Sort of like you're playing a 11v11 in a camp, like a training camp. You have your weak defense with your strong offense against the strong defense and weak attack. So they kind of counterbalance. That's what it felt like today.
No, that's what it was. That's what it was. I figured, I mean, what he figured was, well, we're really under no threat, so let's give these B team guys in the defense a go, but then let's go score a bunch of fucking goals too. Let's go do that too. And then, I mean, obviously you're going to leave a lot of A squad out there again for the next game, and then it'll be the A squad defense.
But to be frank on that, you have 2 Belgians, you had 1 championship, and you had 1 Bundesliga defender back there. I feel like even if you went with the extreme B squad there, that you should still be fine.
Against El Salvador?
No, sorry, against Grenada.
Well, yeah.
And even against let's go ahead and say it against El Salvador too.
You would think I'd rather see Scally on the right if he's playing El Salvador. I don't think that made his game any easier for him today.
I thought that Scally looked really good with Pulisic. I thought they paired well together, whereas Jedi and Pulisic sort of like get in each other's way a lot. I don't think obviously Scally did not push nearly like Jedi does, and that basically allowed Pulisic all the room in the world on the left to do whatever he wanted to do.
Link up with Gio, God forbid. Yes. Link up with Pepe. There was a lot more space there. Scally's very conservative. He doesn't bomb forward. I don't think there's any negative with Scally's game. No.
I don't think he did anything bad. He just was a different left back compared to Jedi.
Joe Scally's the kind of player. He's not going to get you to jizz in your pants, but he will make sure you have a warm pair of underwear on. And that's what he does out there. He's a warm pair of underwear, but he isn't going to get you stimulated.
Derek, you have a great way of painting a picture. Making sure everybody's fully aware of what you're trying to describe. It's great.
He's not going to get you fully stimulated, but he will make sure all your junk's tightly and compactly stocked in there.
He's not going to try to force some awkward crosses that we usually see, but he is going to add a little more defensive stability. So.
He will, because he keeps it tight. He keeps it tight and well compact.
Like a toiga,
like a good pair of jockey underwear. And that's what you need sometimes, right? And he does that the same thing for his club team. He's just a really stable, keeps all the man marbles close together. And that's what you got to do in a good defense. Now, Brian Reynolds, on the other hand, got a little over his skis a couple times out there on the right. I think he figured that out by about the 30th minute and didn't do so many of those kind of.
He still got up there, but he didn't get up there consistently, like a chick with his head cut off.
Were you impressed by Reynolds?
Was not that great of a game for him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't think he did himself any favors, because we're already talking about a right back position that's going to include Scally. With Dest. And then even throwing in the historical aspect of, say, a Yedlin in there.
I think Yedlin's done.
Oh, I would too. There's no reason why I would probably. Yeah.
No.
I couldn't. You can still call him up, but I'm saying that there's no reason why we would want to at that point.
No, Hudson's not going to do that. I think he's done with them too.
So I guess at that point, you're looking at like a Dest and Scally and a Jedi. Who's the fourth? / and/or fifth, depending on how many people you call up.
You're not going to call up any more than 3. So I think that's it. Why go any further?
I suspect they'll call up 4, just as a backup for each, if you will.
No, they'll go with 3 right backs, and then they'll go with Jedi.
4
and
backs.
Jedi.
Yeah.
So you're done.
Who's the 4th back?
No, we got Jedi, Reynolds, Scally, and Dest.
So you're sticking with Reynolds in that sense.
For right now, I don't see anybody taking the spot away from him.
Okay,
it ain't going to be
enough.
Cannon. Cannon play center back for Boa Vista, and we already know what he does, which isn't great. I mean, what are you going to bring back? What's his face that used to play in Spain?
Weah.
Weah is not going to play that position for us, I don't think.
I don't think so. Unless Hudson and/or whoever is going to fill Hudson's role eventually.
Well, but Weah's battle for that right wing spot did get it more interesting today, because Zendejas can play it, Booth can play it, Reyna can play it, Aronson can play it. A lot of guys can play right wing right now. And Pulisic's the only one that he's slot in starter.
To that point, though, I mean, if you know that Weah could slide in as a wing back, as a failsafe, like something you need just in case injuries occur, then maybe you just maybe call in the plethora of wingers that we have, and then if we need to pull in a wing back, we drop Weah back. Not saying that we should, but I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah, let's hope a mini nuclear bomb doesn't occur. But and that
fingers crossed, Eric.
We don't have to go to that depth. But let's also hope that Weah gets healthy and recovers from his concussion and doesn't have the sort of injury play career that he's had so far. He always seems to get healthy right when call-ups come, so there's that. But he's not really been consistently healthy until recently for Lil. So we'll see how that goes. Matt Turner was fine.
I mean, he had the one good save, and that's literally about all he had to do.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do there. Well, we already talked about McKenzie, and I just thought, they were fine. McKenzie and Trusty were fine. They didn't have to deal with much.
I liked more from Trusty than I did from McKenzie, but I didn't see anything.
that.
I didn't see anything really bad with either pairing. Like you're saying, they were there, and they didn't really get challenged. So who knows?
It's not like they had to make a lot of through passes like Ream would,
Yeah.
or cross court passes, or anything. They just kind of dumped it off to whoever came back to grab it. It'd be McKennie or it'd be Luca De La Torre, and at the beginning, Reyna was dropping all the way back there to grab it.
Yeah,
so
there were times where Reyna was all the way back playing the Adams role, more or less, collecting the ball from the center backs, and you're looking at it like, well, he's supposed to be our 10. Why is he this far back?
No, that was planned because if you watch Dortmund, he does a lot of that. He'll go back there and grab it, and then he'll work it to one of the two CMs, and then he'll go past them, linking a triangle, and get the ball back.
I mean, that's also the fluidity that we're talking about in that sense.
Yes.
You have the McKennie, you have Luca De La Torre, who all can get pushed up. If Reyna's checking back to collect the ball, they can start moving up, and it gives them options to move forward. So.
You remember the old hockey games where you had the players on the sticks on the board, and you twisted the little rods? And
Yeah.
We looked finally like a team where the players didn't have sticks up their asses, like in that hockey game.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. They didn't have these little lines. They were restricted to moving in, like in the hockey game.
And
right?
that takes us to the quote from Pepe, where he's basically like, with Hudson, he's giving me the free run. And I know the announcers mentioned this at least twice through the game.
The Spanish announcers?
No. I watched the TNT one.
Oh, you did get it. Okay.
I had to watch it on.
I didn't know that Peacock was just a Spanish-speaking soccer channel.
that was strange. I mean, you had a Spanish-speaking channel, you had Peacock, and you had TNT. What annoyed me the most about that was I was not able to watch. I have HBO Max. How was I not able to watch the match on HBO Max? I'm paying for it.
So fucked up. Yeah. Well, my guess is that you can buy the English-speaking rights or you can buy the Spanish-speaking rights. My guess is that the cheaper one is probably the Spanish-speaking for American broadcast, and Peacock just cheaped out. They just cheaped out.
You're probably right on that, 100%.
Or what they did was, because they own TNT, they're like, well, let's get TNT some eyeballs. So we'll give them the American broadcast, and we'll throw the Spanish broadcast over there on them Peacock channels that people pay money for. Well, come on.
Yeah, that is
give me a break. It's so stupid. I pay extra for Peacock.
I didn't even put into the equation that Peacock's an NBC, which would mean it's part of Warner, isn't it? Which is HBO and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I believe they're all interconnected. Because everything's a monopoly now. You know that, right?
I feel like if you're going to offer it on Peacock, if you own the umbrella for all those channels, why not offer the English and Spanish on all of those streaming services? Because that way you can hit the largest group of your watchers, your fan base.
And then you can just put the Spanish broadcast on Telemundo, which you also partially own or are part of the conglomerate. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's news to me. I just muted it because I can't understand but 20% of it. And that 20% is Reyna. Did you
notice that all the commercials for it, though, were in English?
Yeah, that was weird.
That's weird. Weird. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. There's some screw up going on there, but that's okay. At least I got to watch it. I watched Tax live broadcast of the show. Have to say, the only good people in most of the good people in his comment section were also our people. And there were so many idiots in there and trolls and just morons, just complete idiots. Like, people were like, where do I watch the game? Dude, the game's halfway over. You're asking where you can watch the game now? Now? And by the way, you can look it up on your phone. It'll tell you where to watch the game.
Just
some guys like
his U.S. men's national team, and it'll pull the match, and it'll tell you literally watch online or live TV or whatever. You click on it, and it tells you exactly where to go.
Somebody's like, "Is there a sketchy stream I could use?" I'm like, "Yeah, spankbang.com." I put that on there, spankbang.com. I hope he went there. So I don't know. There were a lot of guys who were like, Reyna looks lazy. Reyna doesn't care. No, that's just kind of how he is. He's kind of languid and slow and like he sort of flows. He doesn't like, he's not going to bust his balls in a game like this. And he doesn't with Dortmund either, by the way. He's kind of a floater who looks for open space to create attacks.
Yep.
And that's what he did today. And he didn't get any assists, but
and that's the thing is that he still maintained the possession with the play. He spread the ball out, which opened up the play. Yeah, he didn't get any assists, but again, this is against Grenada, so I mean you take it with a grain of salt. But he looked good, and to the point as far as him being quote unquote lazy. Yeah, I definitely noticed, especially after the first couple goals, that when it came to like a 50-50, maybe he was pulling up on that because why go at 100% on that? Especially since you've been fighting injury for the last year.
Yeah, I don't see the point of it.
Fuck that. Screw that. You're
this whole idea that you got to play some team you're going to beat 7-1 and go balls to the walls the whole game long for what? To get yourself hurt? When you know you're going to crush this team, there's no point in getting a fucking stud to the ankle and breaking it when you don't need to.
Especially since early on the ref indicated to Reyna that he wasn't going to call shit.
Yeah,
because there were 2 fouls, one just outside of the box, and then one inside the box that were legit fouls.
Yeah,
when in the defense of the ref, he called it like that all game. And I can't argue against that, in the sense that if you're not gonna call fouls part of the game, if you don't call the fouls all game, then at least you're consistent.
CONCACAF is nasty.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not familiar with that concept, then you're gonna be like, and maybe you already wanted Reyna to be lazy. So every time he got the ball, you're like,
people went in with preconceived.
Yeah, he's lazy.
100%. They're looking for that one pass that should have been an easy one. Why didn't you do that?
Then you get people who are like, "Oh, I can't believe we're rewarding him with a starting spot right after the World Cup." But he got punished in the World Cup, motherfucker. Can we get past and over that?
Let's move on.
The punishment was over. He played against Netherlands. That's when you knew the punishment was over. Okay, get over yourselves.
Well, we covered it on Thursday when we reviewed the Ream interview. And everybody had mentioned it outside the Pulisic interview, but he didn't really specifically talk about Gio. He talked about the Reynas, but he didn't talk about Gio. But everybody who's talked about this incident, when it comes up like, oh, how are you guys overcoming this? And like, what? That shit was over like 4 months ago. We're all past that now.
You guys are all focused on it now. Okay. I mean, the press, the media is suddenly there, want to get some shit out of this when they covered it like total fucking nitwits when it came out, when it happened. They all ran with the fucking blackmail story and the extortion shit. They got shit so wrong, they had to go back and re-edit their article 100 times to get the facts straight. So they covered it like crap. People in independent media covered that story better than they did. Mm-hmm. And so now they want to dig in. And, oh, by the way, they were told prior to the presser that no one will answer any questions about Reyna specifically except for Tim Ream. You are welcome to ask those questions to Tim Ream, and that is the only player who will answer those questions.
Because Grandpa knows how to handle you fuckers.
Not even Hudson answered those questions.
Yeah.
Did you notice? No one asked him those questions. They certainly didn't ask Pulisic today or yesterday those questions. So
I do find it interesting, though, since we're talking about this aspect, though, that I feel like in the Hudson era here, he's really thrown us for a curveball because both Ream and Robinson had pressers. And
yeah, no, he's fucked up that whole process.
He's totally messed us up. Now we can't go on that anymore.
No, we can't. So
he's like, I'm throwing you a curveball. Nobody's going to predict this shit.
It's another place where he's thumbed Berhalter in the eye. You can always tell who's going to start for Berhalter because they always got to do the pressers. So that's done. That's done.
I know you were talking about how bored you were from the game, and again, yeah, especially since we're
second half.
It was a flat out domination, regardless.
Yeah.
Anybody that really stood out to you?
Well, Pulisic played the best.
Yeah.
Out of everybody.
Well, fuck, he had a hand in every single goal for the first 4 goals. So yeah.
I thought Luca De La Torre looked really good too.
True. Yes.
I thought he was solid. McKenzie was kind of like.
Wait, McKenzie or McKinney?
McKinney was. God damn
it! They ask every time.
I can't believe I keep doing it. But McKinney, I thought, played a lot of the holding role during that game in front of the back four, but he was really always in the right spot to get that back pass. And then, of course, his goals were great. So,
you can't complain
about that. Yeah, you can't complain about that. Aronson got a goal, which was nice to see.
That was the thing.
I wasn't impressed though.
We were texting back and forth at that point. And I'm like, oh man, Aronson actually took a shot and scored a goal, and I audibly gave a woot.
Yes, and I audibly and I said I gave a light grunt. That's all I could muster.
I'm just happy to see it. Hopefully that sparks some some confidence, some energy in him, and when we go back to Leeds, he'll be a new character.
Still think Aronson has that fall button, and he pushes it all the time. It's like he's already ready to go down before contact even happens. He's almost already falling before the contact happens. I think it's a bad habit that he's gotten into, and I think he needs to stop it. And I do think it can be a bad habit. I don't know if you ever had that player on your team who, with the slightest breeze, would go down, and then they got the calls in the first when they started doing that. But then they never got the calls again because everybody learned this guy just falls down.
So it depends. I mean, and I know here in the States, I'm sure it happens elsewhere, but there's definitely a coaching aspect that says, hey, if you feel contact, this is in or around the box. If you don't feel contact, you fall down. Draw that foul, type of thing.
I don't think he's been told that.
I'm sure he's been told that from early on, an early on point. Yes.
No, I don't think anybody's told him to do that. I think he's picked up that habit. Okay. I really do. I don't think any American coach has ever told him to do that. And that's all he's ever played for.
I'd be surprised, Derek. I'd be surprised.
I doubt that Jim Curtin told him to do that, and I seriously doubt that Jesse has ever told him to do that. Those are the
you're assuming that his habits have been created from just his professional career.
Yes, that's what I think.
I think his habits. I think most players' habits stem from a much further point.
Dude, you never saw him like this in MLS. This started happening at Leeds. He never did it at Salzburg either. He went to Leeds and he started dropping like a fucking gnat in a cold breeze every time he got touched. And he did it again today. And now he stopped doing it finally by the second half. But boy, I was just thinking, there he goes. He's going down again. What the fuck? He wasn't even touched yet. He's already fallen over. I don't know.
No, that would lead, if you're going based off solely what you're saying, that would lead me to think that maybe Jesse Marsch did say, hey, feel contact, fall.
I think players can get in their own heads. I really do. Sure. And if he doesn't fight this tendency to want to go down easy, it's already a joke at Leeds and the fans. They already joke about this. So he's got to turn this around. And people say put on some weight, get in the weight room. Yeah, do that too. But I also think it's in his head now too. I do. I know. It's just me. Well, who are your guys? Do you have anybody that stood out?
I mean, Pulisic, hands down.
Yeah.
Would be my man of the match.
Best player.
Quite frankly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Again, he had a hand in the first 4 goals. And he was just the best. Even his free kicks were kind of on par. I couldn't even argue about that front, you know.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great cross.
I talked about the pairing with Scally and Pulisic. I thought that was a great pairing.
We were talking about Reynolds.
Aside from that, I mean, I like Luca De La Torre, like you had mentioned. I don't want to go into too much detail there because we already talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How about the subs? Anybody?
I think Zendejas was probably the biggest standout.
Yeah,
I don't think DK had anything really to do with about anything for the most part.
Not really.
And I think Booth was hit and miss. I think his corners were solid.
Great corners.
His play on the field was sort of like I'm on the men's national team. That's what it felt like to me.
A little over energized. Yeah. Musa just didn't know he was on the pitch.
Well, I mean, he came in with 15 minutes left or so.
No, he got 28 minutes. 20? He came in with Zendejas.
Yeah. No, he didn't really stand out because he didn't have much to do, I guess.
I barely remember him being on the field.
I stopped from taking my normal notes because we maintained most of the possession and I just started keeping track as far as who assisted and who got the goal on each one. That's all I kept track of as far as my stats, and I've been making notes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I really thought we were going to get another goal. I mean, not to get greedy.
I wanted another 8-something win there. You know, they talked about how there was 2 in U.S. Men's national team pass. We wanted a 3rd right then and there.
I really hope DK would put one in.
Sure. No, I would have liked that too.
Hell, man, I know he wasn't playing the kind of position where he could, but I would like to see more from Cardoso too. And he got the last 15. And
he had one good look. I mean, it was
a
little high, obviously, but it's still like he had a chance. And again, we had to take into consideration this is going to be like the 5th time I'm saying this. It's against Grenada.
Yeah.
All these great performances, massive CONCACAF grain of salt.
Yeah, I think Tack was talking about if I put together like an all-star amateur team, the best amateur players in Orlando, and we went out, we played Grenada, I think we could compete with them.
It's funny because U.S. Men's National Team Stan had posted on there, it's like, hey, you know, Grenada has a population of like 120 some odd thousand.
I don't care about their
No.
population.
But no. He brings it up.
I know.
He brings it up because he goes, it's the same population as Evansville, Indiana. And it just surprised his point was basically it surprises him that Grenada can be as competitive as they are because he doesn't think a team from Evansville could be as competitive as Grenada.
Totally different cultures.
Well, no. And I said, you take Evansville and you make them their own nation in soccer and everything like that. Basically, you say, hey, you have a national team here. They'll find the money and they'll find the infrastructure to develop a decent enough team that could compete with most island nations. I would guarantee that. Guarantee that.
Most island nations, but not Jamaica and not Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, okay, no. To Jamaica's point, I don't know about Trinidad and Tobago at this point, but to Jamaica's point, how many of those players are not naturalized, but players who have Jamaica parents that live in England, that have been developed through England's?
Oh, they wish there were a whole lot. Wish there were a whole lot more of them.
But I'm just saying. Yeah, that's my point, though, is that you have
not enough.
That front. You have that front.
Not enough.
So
they only have a small handful of English-born players.
They remember a team full of them. No, we played them in Europe that one time.
Nope.
It was like practice. They even reached so far down to like the 9th division. And
oh no, I meant good players.
I'm just saying. Well, I mean, if it's League 1, League 2, I mean that's still better than probably playing in the Jamaican League or whatever.
There are plenty of Jamaican heritage players of Jamaican heritage in the English Premier League and the Championship who are English, who are not playing for Jamaica. Most of the ones in the EPL tend to have been played on the English national team. They have not played for Jamaica. And, they made that big thing like, oh, we're going to get this guy. We're going to get this guy. We're going to get this guy. No, you're not. None of them are. They play for the English national team. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. So they're kind of shit out of luck on that. Not to say they don't have good players. They certainly got way better players than Grenada. And
yes,
so as far as island nations go, I'm not. They're never really going to be better than this. This is about as good as Grenada's going to get, unless they have some sort of freakish generation. They just don't have the resources that other countries do. So
the only way you're going to do it, and like I said, just like how Jamaica does to some extent, not necessarily completely across the board, is you spread out. And this is the same thing the United States did. I mean, how many players do we have that were born of American parents in Germany or in England or whatever, that now have made our national team, so much better because they've been playing in that system over there.
Well, that's never going to happen for Grenada because they don't have Grenada because they don't have army bases all over the world, and they don't have major national corporations who send their or hire CEOs or whatever business people from England and or wherever else to come work in the United States, and they have babies. Hell, Weah's dad is the president of fucking Liberia, and he plays for the United States men's national team. That seems a little weird.
Because he was born and raised here. Yeah,
he was, but I mean, your dad's the president of a country that you don't play for.
There are plenty of Liberians fans that are basically saying like, Weah needs to be ousted as the president because his son doesn't even play for the national team here.
He's a traitor.
Like, how's he doing as a president though? I mean, is it all about soccer at that front?
Well, the interesting historical part about that is, I don't know if you know the origins of the country of Liberia, but after the Civil War, the United States invaded a little chunk of Africa to repatriate former slaves to Africa. And that's what they did. They formed a new country called Liberia, and they started repatriating former slaves back to Africa in Liberia. That's how Liberia was formed. And that became a big clusterfuck of civil wars and all kinds of horrible fight for leadership in that country. It was a total disaster and a total mess. They finally got their shit somewhat under control now with Weah's dad being the president. But for years, through the early 1900s all the way up until the 1970s, that country was a civil war disaster. And that's how that country got its name. Liberia comes from the word liberty.
I was going to say, it sounds like it comes from the word liberty, right?
It does, yeah. So that's a little history lesson for some of you out there on Liberia.
So I guess to finish this segment off, Derek, was there anybody that played today that hurt their cause?
No. Well. Not really. I thought Reynolds was not as good as I liked.
Probably did the most to hurt his cause compared to anybody else. But even then, again, a couple of burns shouldn't burn his stint with the national team.
No, I don't think so. I think they'll just say, goat patch game, well done. We won the game.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's looking at this. So I don't think it hurt anybody, but I also don't think it was a major, that guy proved something this game, because it's this team. It's Grenada. So
you can say it. I know I've said it like 5 times already, 6 times. It's Grenada. It's okay.
So we will see more on Monday when we play El Salvador. What time's that game on Monday, by the way?
7:30, I think. 7:30.
Oh, that's in the middle of our fucking show.
No, yeah, that's the thing. We're talking about having to push our show back to Tuesday.
Okay, so
next week we're talking about doing Tuesday, Thursday.
So we should get that out there. We will be doing our show on Tuesday next week.
Announcement right here, guys.
Yep. And so write that down. We will do a review of the El Salvador game, which I hope is more competitive than this. I hope we still win. I just want it to be competitive. I want to see us tested. so we can really see what some of these players are made of and what this new Hudson system is, because I don't care how much they have knobbed on Greg Berhalter's stumpy little fucking cock. This is anti-Berhalter-ball, what they just did today. Mm-hmm. Will they do anti-Berhalter-ball versus El Salvador?
I mean, there was no high press. We played with more or less a double pivot.
It wasn't
kind of a 10.
Wasn't positional.
Very fluid, yeah.
All the hockey stick lanes with the stick things were gone. Players didn't have a dildo jammed 30 fucking inches up their assholes. They looked like guys who wanted to be there and play and have fun. And that is much different than I've seen in the 3 years prior to this. So, I don't call me a Berhalter hater. I don't really care at this point. I don't really care. I mean, listen, I got nothing against the guy as a person, even though he's about as wooden as a, what do they call that? A petrified stump that you find somewhere in a lake. Yeah. But yeah, so make sure to join us on Tuesday. We'll be back. Make sure you like this video and subscribe and share. Comment
down below.
Comment down below. Share it with your grandma. And again, stay away from your stepsister. Till next time on the Straight Red Card. See you Tuesday.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that? Wasn't me, Coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Car. Get off our lawn.